Traditions change with the times, and with technology, the way we create music has moved into the world of virtual instruments. It's time to bring our traditions into the modern-day workflow. Tejano Keyboard presents the Music Creator Library, a sample library of all the classic and hard-to-find keyboard sounds, patches, and layers from your favorite Tejano recordings of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today. The Tejano Keyboard Music Creator Library is an all-in-one music creation tool, including long-sampled German and Italian accordions, live brass and woodwind instruments, basses, guitars, bajo sextos, and drum loops in the styles of the most prolific drummers and styles in Tejano music history. The Music Creator Library is compatible with virtually any digital audio workstation. Whether you're a keyboardist looking to expand your sound collection, an inspiring producer, or an arranger trying to get your ideas down, the Tejano Keyboard Music Creator Library has you covered and is exclusively available at www.tejanokeyboard.com.
I appreciate this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tejano Keyboard Live interview right here on TejanoKeyboard.com. I'm Rolando Revilla Jr. right here on TejanoKeyboard.com. Sorry for the technical stuff that we're experiencing right now. Hopefully, you guys are getting the majority of what's happening. Otherwise, I know it might look kind of blotchy on your end. I will upload the video later. But anyway, today I'm wearing the dad shirt again. Don't forget tomorrow, hopefully if there's not any of these technical things going on, we're going to be doing the product unveiling of the Tejano Keyboard Music Creator Library. My guest will be one of the co-creators of the library, Mr. Jesus Jesse Herrera. So he'll be on tomorrow night. We're gonna have a twofer this week. We usually just do them on Tuesdays, but because we're trying to unveil this library for you guys to check out, that will be tomorrow night. So be sure to join in tomorrow night so you guys can check out, all that good stuff. But without further ado, we have Mr. Johnny Rodriguez. Johnny Rod, how are you today?
Good, I am blessed. How are you?
Oh, we're just hanging in there, man. Just it's getting colder over here in Ohio, and with the change of the season, the sun goes away a lot sooner, so it gets darker quicker and all that stuff. But it is what it is, como dicen, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're in Corpus, correct?
I'm in Corpus Christi. That is correct.
Awesome. And so, tell us a little bit about what got you into the whole Tejano music thing, like playing keyboards and all that stuff.
Oh wow. Well, it started when I was 4 years old. My dad played guitar, so I would always watch him play. So when I was 4, he bought me my first guitar, and he started teaching me guitar at 4. Mm-hmm. And I learned when I was 8. I learned bass, and I would jam with him when he played with like Ciro Lopez, with Steve Jordan, mm-hmm. Gonzalo Liscano here in Corpus, and in a few other bands. So Oscar Martinez, and he died when I was 14. So I stopped playing, and I always liked the way Liscano played piano, so that influenced me a lot. So after about a year, after my dad's passing, that's when I went into keyboards, and I've been doing it since. I liked it a lot. I remember working, I was a baker with my grandfather at the bakery, and we would hear music, and I always liked the sounds that Mas would put out on the radio. Mm-hmm. And I always wondered what the sound was, and I learned there was a keyboard, which like an electronic piano that you could change the sounds on, and the guy's name was Brando Mireles, the keyboard player. So I always looked up to him, and little did I know I would end up jamming with him, years later.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was a blessing.
Yeah. So what was kind of one of your first groups that you started jamming with? Because I know you said that you would watch your dad play a lot, and then from that point on, you kind of picked up the keyboards just because you liked the the sound of it. What was kind of like your first kind of
Yeah.
like plunge into playing like in a band or that sort of thing?
Oh, like yeah, that would have been was first Explosivo with George Ochoa in
Oh yeah,
Corpus,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, George Ochoa with Explosivo,
La
right? Then I
viejita
went with
enamorada.
Divino. Yeah, like Hito Namorada, that's him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then I played with Mike Reeves, Ernest Reeves, Project Six, then Margarita,
Mhm.
Lisa Lam, Alex Montes,
Oh
that's
yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, so I went with them, and then I played with oh man, so many other bands. I got to play Cruise Control Classic Rock Party Band here in Corpus. So they had live horns, trumpets, trombone, sax, and oh man, five-part harmonies. Like it sounded amazing. You know, we'll do like Eagles, Commodores, power, uh, Earth, Wind and Fire, and it sounded really good. So I went to that scene for a little while. I also played with Vidal Brothers from Kingsville.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I got to jam with them. And then, then I went with Maz, with Jimmy, and then Joe Lopez came back on board on the live reunion tour in 2006.
And
And
so then you started jamming with Jimmy Gonzalez, and you won some Grammys and stuff like that. That was pretty cool, pretty exciting.
yeah, that was something else. Yeah, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought of anything like that. That's a blessing for sure. I joined Jimmy in 1998. I was playing with Margarita actually, and she needed to get some of her music recorded for Jimmy because he was going to be producing her album.
Hmm.
So I recorded. I picked her songs and then we wrote one, and then um, he was listening to the song. Who did your music? And well, he did. And well, where did you record at? And like he recorded it, at our office where we had it. And he goes, well, I'm gonna take him away from you. No, you're not. He's mine. And he might you up there. And he tells her, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. And and he did. He
Wow.
would pay me $450 a night just to sit on the side of the stage and watch them play.
Wow.
Not even just to sit there.
Hmm.
Um, so again the next night and again the next night. I like this. So I threw my keyboards in the back of his truck and I rode off in the sunset. And I was gone.
That was
So,
cool, man.
yeah, man, a true story, true story. And then, not long after the band broke up, so he lost everything. And then, the band and the studio he had, the engineer quit. But before he lost the studio, he's like, we're in there, and he's like, oh man, Manny's gone. What are we gonna do? And I go, well, I can run a studio. And no, you can't. And we'll continue. And then I finally, he let me play some tapes. And I told him, you want to record? No, you're crazy. That's local. You can't record. And I go, yeah, I learned it. How did you learn? Alex Montes taught me. And you go, oh, Alex Montes? Okay, let's try it. Look for some tapes so we can erase. So we scanned through some of the ADAT tapes. We recorded on ADAT at that time.
Hmm.
And I found some tapes that we could record over, and that's where the first album came out. Tiene a pesar de todo, all those songs in the first album. Um, okay, I was gonna say this one, but no, this is the other album we won. This was Siempre Humilde. That one we were already signed by Freddie by then.
Awesome.
Um,
So the first album was independent, or who released the first album?
we got signed by Freddie Records with the first album. So mid album,
Hmm.
after I had like half of it done, we went to Freddie and we got with Q and with Quintanilla,
Hmm.
and then we went with we were trying to talk to people, trying to get in somewhere. And the best deal was with Freddie, so we went with Freddie, and so we recorded at Blue Cat, Pro Sound in the Valley with Chuy Cavazos, and then at Jimmy's studio, which was Padre Sound at the time.
Hmm.
And we mixed and mastered at at Freddy's.
And,
We did some at Trick Muscles in Posan,
mhm.
and then at Freddy's.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a chance to go and tour the Freddy campus there in Corpus, and it's pretty impressive, man. All the rooms that they have and all that.
It is.
It's very nice, and they get really good sounds in that studio. Of course, the Jimmy stuff, Ellie the stuff, and when Signal was recording there, all those bands had really good sounding albums. And of course, I mean, it all starts at the source, right? So if you have a good studio, then you're gonna get a good sound. Of course.
True.
Yeah.
And of course, the engineer too. So we had some. Freddy Records has some really great engineers. Ram Serna, we had Richard,
Mhm.
and Mariano Herrera. So
Herrera.
we had a good team that everybody worked together nicely, in harmony.
We have
And the product came out, and he kept coming hit after hit. With Beto Ramon would write all our hits.
Yep.
So Jimmy would write also a little bit, and then I would write a little bit, and Freddie Martinez, he had his songs. And we would arrange them, put them together, and let's go, turn it out.
That's awesome. Well, we have our first question here. Nano Fuentes, Raul Nano Fuentes says, J-Rod, what's good, carnal? How's your back with that 88 key Triton?
Oh, man, I got rid of it. It was too heavy. Yeah, but I got a smaller one, so it's lighter. But the same one, but without the weighted keys.
Oh, without the weighted
But
keys?
I still have my sounds. I got the samples from when I played with Jimmy, we needed the sounds from the O1W, the Corgo 1W, the Korg M1, the Roland D50, the Yamaha DX7, the Rhodes 760, and so I got the Rhodes, the M1, the O1W, the D50, all sampled into my Korg Triton Studio. So I got all the sounds, all the original sounds over there.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, and all those, if I could shamelessly plug there, a lot of those sounds that you're talking about are going to be in that library that we're unveiling tomorrow. So a lot of those classic sounds that people are looking for, this is your chance to get your hands on a lot of those. And so be on the lookout tomorrow. And like I said, hopefully all of these technical issues go away. But nonetheless, so you're still using are you using a Triton Studio, or are you using
a Triton Studio? Yeah, I use Triton Studio, and then I have the Rhodes, an MK60, Rhodes 760, the D50. I got it sampled from the original D50, and I have the Rhodes 760. I have the Yamaha Motif.
Mm-hmm.
I have the ES series, and then I have Korg Triton Studio has a Korg Chrome, and I have so many I forget.
So the reason
the Roland JV90, the JV90's got that mouse brass, so that's the one I use for the brass.
That's got a really good bright sort of absolutely. So I was gonna say, are you using the Triton Studio because of the built-in hard drive to store all the samples in there? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. That's the reason I use that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the samples. Now I heard a bit of what you're gonna be unveiling with that. Oh man, that's an amazing creation. Whoever made that, you guys made it, or?
Yep, I did. Me and my partner.
Oh,
yep.
Wow, I am impressed. That is gonna hit. It's gonna work big time. Like. I wish you the very best of success. You will get it.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
And we've had this discussion.
I'm gonna use it.
Cool, man. I appreciate that. So we've had this discussion on this channel before. Is that like, although we're trying to progress the music forward and try to make it sound new and fresh and relevant, that oftentimes when you try to make Tejano sound newer, the one thing that it kind of still needs is some of that old school soul, and I think a lot of that comes from those sounds. You know what I mean? Some of those sounds that because the progressions and the arrangements and stuff like that can be fresh and stuff like that, but similarly I think Gilbert Velasquez, when he was on talking about Jerry de la Rosa, we were talking about this, but it's kind of like country music has their fiddle and steel guitars and certain various kinds of guitars that you get that sound with, and country music has progressed, but it still needs those sounds to sound country, right? You're not going to replace.
Yeah,
You're not going to replace
it
the
gives you
steel guitar.
that original sound, that unique sound that makes it. You're exactly right about that.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
And so, yeah, absolutely. Like, what you're doing with the sampling and putting it on the. So let me ask you this, because I used to own the Triton Studio, and I sold it because it was a 76 key and it was too big. But how are you getting the samples into the? Are you using the CD drive and then loading them in that way, or do you have the MLAN?
No, no. I would sample them directly from the original D50, from the original, and
Gotcha.
the original one. So what I would do, I would sample each key in each octave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so then you can go into your parameters once you import the audio file, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can go and mess with the oscillators to add the velocity, and then you have your effects, or delay,
And
or to match the original. So I get like the M1, D50, like all those classic sounds. I had the motif, the XF8.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It was okay. And I had the Chronos.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, but it just didn't cut through like the old O1W, the old M1, the D50. It just didn't. And I tried sampling on that one,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't come close to the Triton Studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold it.
Yeah, and you know what? As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, that's what I'm using right now. The second generation Chronos, the Chronos 2 with the wooden
Yeah.
hands on it.
Yeah,
But-
it's a good keyboard, but I didn't it wasn't delivering like the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, no, and
Or
no,
maybe
I agree
maybe
with
I
you.
didn't-
I
I didn't
agree with
dig
you
it.
100%, because here's the thing: is that when the Chronos first came out, I tried it out and I didn't like any of the sounds on it, because you're absolutely right. It's like it lacked that warmth. I think that
Yeah.
so
It's an extra.
what
Okay.
I ended up doing was I purchased it because I sometimes use backing tracks, and instead of having the backing tracks externally, like say on a laptop or something like that, I could load them into the solid state hard drive that it had. So similarly to like the Triton Studio, but you're right. Once you start kind of tweaking it, I think because you tweaked it in the Triton and then trying to move it over to the Chronos, it's not going to sound right. If you would have, tried to,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe make it for the Chronos instead of Triton to Chronos, and maybe that you would have had some different luck with it or
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. The Chronos is a good instrument for people who are making today's pop music. But for those of us,
It's a programmer's dream.
yeah,
It's a programmer's workstation, and it's amazing. I'm not dogging it. It's really really nice.
mhm.
But for what I needed it for, it wasn't working for me.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't have the sounds, I think, for Tejano music. And going back to what we were talking about, like you need to have, like, in order to sound Tejano, I think to a certain extent, you need to have some of that old school vibe. You know what I mean? To kind of like tie it
Yeah.
all together. We have a shout out here. It says, "Sup, it's Hector Gutierrez checking y'all out. Hello, Hector. Thank you.
Oh, Hector.
Yeah, and Hector was on, I think, a month or a couple months ago, something like that. But I do appreciate his friendship. Now we talk every once in a while, and we kind of talk shop and talk
Awesome.
keyboards, and yeah. So, how long were you with Jimmy? And when did you kind of like leave the band, or were you still around when he passed? Or
Oh, yeah. I joined in November 1998,
uh-huh.
and then I stuck it out. In 2007, I had an incapacitating car accident where it took me 3 years to walk.
Wow.
So I was down for about 3 years. So Chris Perales came in, and he played. I think he had Xavier Padilla also before the time. And then Chris took over. So Chris took over. So by the time I recovered, like I didn't want to take his job, So I would just record Jimmy in the studio. Since that point. So whenever they come into town, I'll go sit in with them. Or whenever Chris couldn't make it, I would go and fill in. But I would just record him in the studio all the way up until 2016.
Right. Yeah, I still got you there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, there we are. Yeah, we were having a little bit of an issue there. So you were there, kind of off and on, kind of in the background. Who were you jamming with when you weren't jamming with Moss?
Well, I jammed with I would freelance.
Freelance.
So anybody that calls me, I'll go play. I play guitar, I play bass, I play keyboard. So I'll sit in with anybody, rock or country or Tejano, conjunto, whatever it's called. I'll pick up, and I would record. Yeah. So I played with Cruise Control, it's a classic rock party band. I played with
Beto Ramon too, right?
I played with David Manes, Excelencia también with David Dianda, and then Stevie D. That's
right
one of the last times I played with Stevie D.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was asking, were you playing also, or maybe I saw just a picture of you helping out Beto Ramon too with his group?
Oh yeah, I was playing with Beto Ramon. Yeah, I was playing with Beto Ramon. Actually, I'm recording some stuff for him here, and then also for Mike Gonzalez, which kept on Jimmy's legacy. The Iconics. So I've been producing some work with him, along with some work that Rick Calderon is producing him some more material as well. So he's keeping the torch going,
Absolutely, man. That's a legacy that it needs to live on. You know what I mean? And it's awesome that that the bloodline is still there, and trying to keep the same sound, the same onda going, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, so I'm glad to be able to work with everybody and taking apart, my industry. I like helping everybody out.
Mm-hmm. And so, if you had any advice for, like, say, somebody who's starting off or something like that, what advice do you give them?
Starting out like as a musician or a keyboard or
yeah, I mean it could be anything. I mean this channel's mainly keyboards, but I mean we talk about whatever. We talk about drums. We talk about whatever. Just in general as a musician.
Yeah, primeramente Dios, and dreams are out there to be reached. So go get them. You'll be able to do it. Just apply yourself.
Awesome.
And
you said right now you're currently working on some stuff in the studio for people, right?
Yeah. So like let me see. To meet my one of my co-producers that I work with is Ralph Orozco. Ralph, you busy?
What's going on?
Well, this is Roland Revilla. He's interviewing me. This is Ralph Orozco, one of my partners.
How you doing, my friend? Ralph Orozco.
So we got the studio. He's got a studio over here in Rockport. So I'm going to show him a little sneak peek of some of the stuff I've been working on over here.
Oh, great.
So we got over here. I've been working some of the one for the Iconics. I'll show you a little piece. I cannot show you all of it, but just give you a little sample of what it sounds like,
Yep.
Because it's not the final yet. But let me go a little further back. Let me go a little further back. Let's get a little bit more of a taste. It's called Vuelve. Oh, a little bit further back. Okay. Oh, here. We got the mouse press there.
Oh, of course. That's oh, that's cool. That's cool that you guys have Rebecca on there, man.
That's it.
That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. So Mike said, give me one of my dad's, one of the Jimmy cumbias. So, all right, you want it, you got it.
That's
So
cool. And you kind of got it down to a science, man, where you kind of already know what the arrangement needs to kind of get that sort of sound,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Well, thanks. That's well, that was the style I gave Jimmy because it's not the original mask. That's what Jimmy kind of molded me into.
Hmm.
I was the only one that stuck with him. Everybody had left, so I stuck with him. And he taught me so much. I wouldn't be here without if it wasn't for him. And Jerry La Rosa taught me a lot as well. Jerry me dijo, it's not the notes that you play, it's also the notes you don't play.
Yep.
So
I believe that.
he started showing me the voicings, so like using the ninth, then leaving out your root and raised fifth, and like wow, and I learned so much from him.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that, like, I've been, even with the students that I have here on my channel, we talk about rootless voicings or the primary notes to making a chord sound like like the chord is supposed to be intended. So, like, for example, chances are a bass player is going to be playing the root. A guitar player is going to have the fifth in there somewhere. But the notes, at least in my opinion, and from what I've studied, is that the third is the one that shows or that makes it sound either major or minor. So the third's very important, and then the seventh, because the seventh will demonstrate if it's a major seventh, dominant seventh, or even a half diminished, or you know what I mean, or full diminished if it's a double flatted seventh. So
Yes.
there's certain notes that you do have to have, but all the other ones kind of can be omitted, because if you're playing the same notes that someone else is playing in the arrangement, sometimes it gets too
Yeah,
cluttered. Too
it clutters the mix, so it's harder. And Gilbert Velasquez told me, "No, you're cluttering the mix." I learned on the voicings,
yeah,
through Gilbert Velasquez and Jerry La Rosa.
that's cool, man.
You know.
That's cool, man. Like I said, to be carrying on that legacy, man, that's pretty awesome. So what are some of the things that that you've been doing during COVID outside of music, or just to kind of keep you busy, or is music kind of all that you do full time?
Yeah, yeah. I've been doing music. I've been producing. I work with Ralph Orozco. Like right now, I'm producing. Michael Gonzalez and Iconics. So I just wrote a little piece right there. I'm also producing. Um, any artist or let me pull it up.
Hey, let me ask you,
Yeah.
who's singing with Mike Gonzalez?
It's Alex Basulto from San Antonio, and then Fidencia from Waco.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, yeah. So no, and it sounds great. They're doing a great job.
That's
hmm
awesome.
So it's and Mario Esquivel, he goes play the chorus, so he sits in and he sometimes will sing.
Yep,
And then Rick Calderon, he also sings harmonies as well.
that's
Mm.
cool. So, have you been noticing kind of an uptick in studio work since COVID happened? Like more people are itching to record, or do you kind of
Well,
has it kind of been kind of
I've been
steady?
I've been pretty much channeled my way, and that's the only way I make money right now.
Right.
No more gigs at the moment.
Yeah.
I had a lot of gigs. I would make decent money, but when the COVID hit, it really hit the pocketbook. Like whoa, and then well, I like eating, a lot, and oh shoot, I gotta eat ramen noodles or weenies and bread. Like no tanto así, but I like I had to kind of start budgeting. It's
Yeah.
a little hard to adjust. uh, Thanks to God, I'm alive, and take care of what I gotta,
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
I can. But it's been kind of like a blessing in disguise, kind of, because I've been working a lot in the studio. So I've been producing, writing. I've been working on my publishing, getting that going. So now I've learned what I didn't know before, that you can get royalties for your arranging for musical composition, and I always thought just the writer gets it, and I was wrong. So now I'm setting up myself to do it the right way. So anybody I'm working with, and I'm doing open book policy, so they see everything right there.
Yeah. Now let me ask you something. Is that retroactive, or was that something that you have to from this point on? Like, say, are you going to be getting any royalties from any of the stuff that you help arrange for Jimmy, or is it just from this point
No,
on?
well, because I didn't know any better at the time, and Brady, I'm sorry, but I don't know what's going like. But I signed a release. I don't know what the release was for. I had to sign a release for all the work that I did, but I don't know what that was for.
Mm-hmm.
It was just for the records, but not. So I'm not gonna go chase it. I don't want no bad vibes to anybody in the past.
Yeah, and
So
I'm sure
I
a
just
lot of
live and learn, and God will take care of me.
yeah,
I'm
I
good with
think a
that.
lot of that has to do also with the fact that the record labels need to be able to uh, have free reigns with the material if they're going to make a compilation album with Jimmy's music and all the Freddie Records people together on one album. And every time that they would have to do something like that, then they would have to get consent from everybody. So a release consent would probably make it easier for stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million different reasons why, legally why people do certain things. You know what I mean? Not all of it's sinister or anything like that.
No,
And I'm
true
saying that
about
not
it.
for
Yeah.
you, but for people who are watching. You know what I mean? People who are or who will watch
Yeah,
this
well,
in the future.
it takes a lot to get an album recorded and put out and everything. And Freddie has been behind us, all the way. So that's why there's no bad vibes on that at all,
Mm-hmm.
because he pushed us a lot. He took care of us, So
Mm-hmm.
it's good, it's good,
Mm-hmm.
And well, I got to play with him, Freddie Martinez, with the legends, him, Tony Ozuna. Well, Hector Gutierrez, man, I was done with him. To me, it was me, him, and Jordan Velez. we had a blast,
Yeah. Awesome,
playing with
man.
Freddie Martinez,
Yeah.
you know,
So
yeah, they, um,
so you have to learn a pretty vast repertoire to be able to play with different
oh yeah,
musicians all the time and to have
yeah.
those songs already ready. So what are some of the things that you do to kind of remember all of these tunes? Because you saying being a hired gun, musicians sometimes call you like, "Hey, we're playing this set and there's 20 songs here. Boom, have them ready by next week." What
Yeah.
you know?
The good thing, and I've been lucky that everybody plays almost the same songs. But here's a curveball when oh shoot, damn, when they play the same song but a different key, and it throws me off. Like, oh shoot, 'cause I don't like transposing,
Yep.
so I have to find the key. I have to make sure I write down the key. Or like if I'm playing and se me olvida, and when we're playing
Mm-hmm.
with another band, then I start in the wrong key. I'm like, oh shoot. But I have to be like, quickly correct. I just let go, and then okay, I find my way. I pick up my ears.
So what's one
But
of your
other than
favorite?
that,
I was gonna ask you what's one of your favorite like EP sounds, because I know that like Jimmy had his like signature sort of like piano sounds for like his cumbias and for his rancheras.
mhm.
What was like one of your favorite or your kind of go to patch, or if you can explain what exactly it is that you use for something like that you're gonna do for Jimmy.
Well, like the template of the sounds, kind of that kind of follow. Like a pesar de todo. I don't have my keyboards connected here, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I use the O1W, and Jerry had the Ensoniq,
Mm-hmm.
the ASR 10.
Mm-hmm.
We had a sample. So it was a sample of the Roland JV90, and then the brass from the Rhodes 760.
Mm-hmm.
So that was created on the original Miles brass. That
Mm-hmm.
you've heard, since most of the day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, no, not D1 because they started in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jerry Lotto came around,
Yep.
like early 90s, late 80s.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, but what about the piano sounds, like the comping sounds that you use for that sort of stuff? Like, of course, the brass is, the iconic Moss sound, but some of the stuff on the background, like what are some of the string patches that you use, or some of the
okay, like that. Okay, the pianos, O1W digi piano,
Mm-hmm.
the O1W digi piano, and also the Rhodes, Rhodes, like the original Rhodes, so Jimmy liked using those too. And the strings, I would use the strings from the Trine Studio, which are the smoothie strings, where like the Luis Miguel strings were nice and lush, warm, and then the golden strings for the more brighter. We can hear the bow. The dynamic strings. I always use those from the Trine series. Other sounds. Let's see. Well, the bells. We would use the ones from the Rhodes 760. That's the one that starts like ahí de hoy. Vengo a pedirte perdón, ding 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 ding. That song right there. That's from the Rhodes 760. We use those bells. And the choirs would be from the M1 or the O1W.
Yeah, because those are pretty similar. Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, it's good to like talk about, like, that's like a big history down, like synth history. You know what I mean? Like those synthesizers that people were using back then and they're still using now, and like it boggles my mind. Like we were talking about, like the Kronos and like even the newer Roland stuff that's coming out. It's like they're trying to build off of their legacy but they're changing everything. You know what I mean? And and then they're coming out with virtual instrument representations of their old keyboards, of the M1, of the Triton, of the Roland D50. Roland has released their own. What is it? The 1970 or 1987, which is supposed to be the D50 or whatever. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, instead of building on that, they're just building on the history of that, and then I think they're not keeping that old sort of soul.
Yeah. I know, like the Yamaha, the MODX. I like it. Speaking a little bit of the DX7 sounds on that one. I guess probably the closest. That's done it that way. But like Korg and Roland, what they should do, I think, is they should use the same circuitry that they use in the original D50 and the original the earlier Korgs,
the M1,
right? The O1W, yeah, and then it's using that other power supply and PC board instead of running through the digital part of the rest of it. So you can access it digitally, but it should originate from the original boards inside it, just recreating them. But they haven't done that. I don't know why they won't.
Yeah, it could be suppliers too. The technology is older. People probably aren't even making those chips for that stuff anymore. You know what I mean? So, but even so, I mean, you could even do a digital emulation of it and run it digitally, because there's some like a PreSonus. They make like a recording software and preamps and all that stuff. They actually make plugins where each part of the circuitry is emulated. They're not trying to emulate like an equalizer. They're trying to emulate everything behind the equalizer to get you that same sound. You know what I mean?
Like that warmth, like that tube warmth, like kind of a sound.
Yeah, whether it's the transformer that they're using or whatever, but those are all digital emulations that are happening. So even if they can't have the original circuitry that they had before, if they were to get an actual modeled digital emulation of that, I think they could get a lot closer. You know what I mean? Especially, if you listen to the M1 plugin and the Triton plugins, they sound really, really close, I think. You know what I mean? Of course, they're going to lack a little bit of warmth, because the circuitry is different. But to me, it seems like they're not even trying that. They're just like, well, let's just sample it or whatever and try to, pass it off as the same thing when it's not, and but enough of that. So we've been kind of on the air for a little less than an hour. I'm going to kind of wrap things up here because, like I said, we're still having some technical difficulties. But I have recorded
Okay.
the show, and the show will be uploaded. So although we didn't have as many people on asking questions because of the upload issues, we still did have a few of them in there. And if you guys ever have any questions for Johnny after the fact, be sure to write them in the comments below of the video when this uploads. And then I can always reach out to Johnny or Johnny, would you like to let people know how they can reach out to you in case they're looking for a keyboardist or studio musician or producer or anything like that?
Yeah, you can look me up on Facebook. You can look me up there. You can reach me at 361-742-6050. That's my cell. Or you can contact Ralph Orozco to record here. The studio over here is in Rockport. That's 361-463-7209. That's Ralph Orozco. And then myself, Johnny Rye, which is the first number I gave. Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'm sorry that we really didn't get to dive into things like how we really wanted to. For those of you who are still kind of watching this, don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be doing the product unveiling, and we'll be answering all your questions, and hopefully we can get rid of all these technical issues. First time that anything like this has really happened, but como quiera, thank you, Johnny, so much for your time, and thank you for what you do for the industry, and thank you for your contribution to Tejano music. And if you want to stand by for a second, I'm going to play us off the air real quick, and then we can talk a little bit more, and then I'll let you go. All right, you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you for having me on, bro.
Absolutely.